Daniel Holtzclaw, has been charged with multiple counts of rape.
He did it. Look at his face. Look at his face. A police officer committing the R word? That's insane. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. You deserve to get life in jail. Yo. What's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna be looking at dirty cops reacting to unexpected prison sentences. I'm not gonna lie, for you to get arrested as a cop, nigga, you're supposed to be the one that's officiating the laws, and your ass got clapped by the law. Kind of ironic, isn't it? If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys join us on Discord, and make sure you catch us on Twitch. We're live every day. Links in the description. And without further ado, let's get started.
This is 30-year-old Zachary Webster, a dirty...
He did it. He did it. He did it. His name is Zachary Webster, and he's built like this. He just looks like he did it.
Deputy formerly employed in North Florida. He's been convicted of an array of charges, including planting drugs on innocent drivers.
What is the point of doing that as an officer? You're being such an asshole, plugging drugs in someone's vehicle? Like, you just have to be a dick. The more people they arrest, the more money they get, right? That's how it works? I don't know, but the fact that you could literally pull someone over and plant any type of drug in their car, you're an asshole, bro.
About 67 counts of racketeering, official gross misconduct, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances. His
false imprisonment, so that means he arrested someone that shouldn't have been arrested. 67 crimes, more like 67 orders of McDonald's. I don't know, but he is big as shit. You're right on that.
His crimes originated from routine traffic stops that began with minor traffic transgressions, but unfortunately ended up with innocent people going to jail on fake drug charges, including possession of meth, which was planted by Webster himself. Many of the victims...
Imagine if you're with a family member, like, I don't know, your parents or whatever, and then you're like, I don't even do drugs, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why this cop stopped me. And then your mom finds out just to find out his ass did it. No, that would be insane, bro. I would be heated. Arrest this man.
Saw their lives crumble as a result. One of them is Teresa Odom.
Damn.
I wish you no ill will, and you'll never know what you've done to me until you have children of your own. So.
The prosecution made use of Webster's own body cam videos to incriminate him, as well as other pieces of evidence, including a secret stash of ready-to-plant evidence in the trunk of his patrol car. As far as what his motives were, the prosecution claims he was an ambitious officer who wanted to move higher up in the hierarchy to the narcotics division.
Ironic! You want to move to the DEA type niggas just for you to be the one with the drugs. I don't think you should be working there. I think they should be looking at you. You're the one that's dealing narcotics, nigga. Wants to move up there to smoke it? Probably. Maybe if you just are a law-abiding officer, you would have got moved up.
He vehemently testified that he had no involvement in planting drugs in any of the victims' cars.
Was there ever anything other than that bag, same bag, being palmed in your hand that you later put in your purse and acted like you found out of that purse?
Okay, so what you just presented to this jury is absolutely absurd and not factual at all.
Webster was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months in prison. He had already spent the last 58 days in the Jackson County Jail since he was found guilty.
Usually they be giving police people pardons and shit. The fact that you're getting arrested that long as a police officer, you are clapped. 12 and a half.
Those days will go towards his sentencing, and he will be transferred to a state prison to serve the rest of his time. Now, off to the Seminole County Court in Sanford, Florida, where the one-day trial of 46-year-old Lysette Gonzalez has come to an end. She was charged with driving under the influence by a certain Officer Wagner.
She ain't do it, chat. She ain't do it. Look at her. She kind of fine. Yo, I have this weird obsession of finding a woman fine and they could be topped. She's actually all right, but I don't think she actually drove under the influence. That's what I will say.
And was found guilty by the jury. At the last minute, Gonzalez's attorney makes one final plea to the judge. He reports that his defendant was not assessed with a breathalyzer or had her blood drawn. Yet, the arresting officer reported that she tested above the limit.
Respectfully ask that this court grant the judgment notwithstanding the verdict.
In a move rarely seen in court, the attorney asks the judge to overturn the jury's verdict and acquit the defendant. The judge then faces the prosecutor, and the conversation becomes heated.
Wait a minute. Did you hear the uncontroverted testimony of this officer?
Your Honor.
Then I want you taking him up on perjury.
Your Honor.
Will you take him up for perjury?
He admitted it was a mistake, Your Honor.
No, but
That is the dumbest mistake ever. Look, I'm not an officer, but I still know, nigga, if you gonna test someone, nigga, put the shit in their mouth, nigga, before I put my dick in your mouth, officer. Why would you do that to my girl, huh? Why would you do that to the girl, man? She was just chilling, my nigga. You ain't have to do that.
he lied. He lied on a sworn
Absolutely
citation.
not, Your Honor, and that is that is not true.
I'm dismissing. I'm dismissing. I am dismissing this charge.
In a strange turn of events, the judge dismisses the charge and grants the defendant a JOA, but he is not done yet.
Now that I consider what Officer Wagner testified to and how many times he basically tripped over himself just to arrest this lady with no real probable cause, you're done.
If you get the judge heated, that's when you know you're screwed. Don't ever, you're basically clapped after that. And why is the attorney still arguing? Just be like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, the cop actually screwed up. I don't know what to say.
Motion JOA is granted.
And you're not going to provide a written order on that?
Nope. You want to appeal me? Appeal me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The defendant, Lysette Gonzalez, walks out of the courtroom free of all charges. Next, we go to Waverly, Ohio, at the Pike County Courthouse for the arraignment of...
It's Ohio. Are we surprised about what's gonna happen in Ohio? They did the shit. The officer did it.
Charlie Reeder. The former Pike County Sheriff has been charged with multiple felony charges, including 2 counts of theft in office, as well as tampering with evidence.
Exactly.
He was accused in 2019 of funneling money from drug busts to support his chronic gambling addiction. A sum of about $5,000 was allegedly reported. In a pitiful attempt to save face, Reeder said in court that he took the money from the drug investigations and used the cash to help the community.
Yeah, nigga, the community of one, you big ass nigga. Your whole body built like a community. What type of community you're supporting? The community at KFC. He's trying to be the Robin Hood. This nigga's the ghetto Robin Hood. You're not like that, buddy. You're not like that.
Yeah, right. Like anybody is going to believe that. Right before his sentencing, with tears in his eyes, he gave an emotional speech pleading with the judge to not sentence him to prison.
I stand here before you today to take accountability for my actions. As a sheriff of Ohio, I shed, I shed bad light on the office of sheriff.
After the long, emotional speech, the judge only had this to ask of Charlie Reeder.
And the denominations did not match what was taken at the crime scene or from those individuals. I guess, why did you take the money?
As part of his plea, Reeder will not be allowed to work for any public office in Ohio. The judge then sentenced him to a total of 6.5 years. But because the counts will run concurrent...
Damn, that nigga's lucky, bruh. Our Logan Paul apology. If you guys ever get arrested, please don't cry. It's gonna make you look even more weak, nigga. J-Station ass apology. What bothers me is the fact that these people are police. Like, they supposed to be the ones that are kind of like holding the law to its fullest extent. And these are the niggas that are doing the crimes. Ironic.
He will only spend 3 years in prison. This is Michael Dutrow, a former Edison cop who maliciously planned a series of revenge plots against other officers who must have crossed him during his line of duty. He was eventually arrested for burning his supervisor's home and was set to be arraigned with the following charges.
Nigga, you couldn't just transfer departments? Nigga said, yeah, I'm gonna get it back in blood and just burn the whole shit down. Nigga, that's insane. No, I'm not gonna lie. If I hate my boss, hey, you better watch out. I'm gonna burn your whole house down. If you gonna beef with people, at least don't beef with the same people that are working with you. I don't know, especially if it's your supervisor, the one that's capable of firing you or arresting you. I don't know.
Attempted murder, aggravated arson, official misconduct, conspiracy to tamper with a witness, and conspiracy to retaliate. The attempted murder and arson charges relate to Michael Dutrow igniting his supervisor's home with 2 gasoline-filled jugs on May 23, 2013. His supervisor was at home with his wife, 2 children, and a 92-year-old mother at the time of the...
He was willing to die behind this. He was willing to kill all them niggas. Yo, what did they do to him, bruh? Did they fire his ass or some shit? Did they reject his weekly payments?
4 a.m. fire. Although the house was heavily damaged, fortunately, none of them were injured. Dutrow remained stone-cold silent for the nearly hour-long trial while the judge laid down some of his thoughts.
Because of what this individual has done, because of him and people like him, victims are afraid to come forward to be part of the criminal justice system.
The attempted murder and arson were not the only legal issues Michael Dutrow has fought in recent years.
What else he do?
In the official misconduct case, Dutrow was accused of checking police records and informing his wife of reports related to a tire slashing incident involving a woman he was reportedly involved with. Dutrow
Wait. That took a turn. He was out here slashing a woman's tires as well. What type of beef do you have with a woman that you gotta slash her tires? I feel like that's something a woman would do to an ex or some shit, not as a police officer.
Dutrow also pleaded guilty to a count of conspiracy, admitting he sought revenge against a North Brunswick police officer who had ticketed another individual for drunk driving. This Dutrow guy doesn't sound like someone who leaves vengeance to the Lord. He wants revenge all to himself. Dutrow received 20 years for attempted murder, 10 years for aggravated arson, 10 years for official misconduct, 5 years for conspiracy to tamper with a witness, and 18 months for conspiracy to retaliate.
He's cooked. If it doesn't say serve concurrently, he's cooked. No, even 20 years, nigga. $1 million to your bank account right now. You're gonna have to serve 5 years in prison though. Are y'all doing it? I wouldn't do it. 5 years of my life, nigga, my youth for $1 million? No, nigga. No, the most I would do in terms of years is 3 years. And you would have to pay me like a cool 25 million. Anything less is just disrespectful, nigga. No, unless my butt gets took. Nigga, so you want to get butt fucked in prison?
All the prison terms will run concurrently. Welcome to the Miami-Dade courthouse, where 51-year-old Lester Blust has been convicted of a—
The nigga name is Bust on me. Yo, I don't know how I interpreted that to be his name, but it sounded like his name said Bust, nigga. Bro, look at his head. He did it, nigga. Lester Blust. Nigga look like Mr. Clean.
Attacking and slamming a male nurse to the ground at the Jackson Memorial Hospital. He was charged with 1 count of battery on a person of 65 years and older, and 1 count of—
Why do you have beef with the elderly? What beef do you have with the retirement center? What do old people do to piss y'all off? I don't know how you could get mad over someone who literally can't walk anymore. If you have a problem with them, just walk away. The fact that you're beating up a 65-year-old, old people smell, or your own homies be smelling like shit, you don't be beating them up for it.
To false imprisonment. According to the arrest report, the confrontation between the two started after the officer's mentally troubled niece was discharged from the hospital. Her father then brought her back the next day, but doctors deemed she didn't meet the criteria to be readmitted, and the father was told to schedule a follow-up appointment. The father called in his brother in the force, Lester Blust. Upon arriving at the hospital, the nurse said he couldn't discuss the patient's affairs in an area where other patients were being treated, and led Blust to a more private area, where the officer grabbed the nurse by his jacket and slammed him to the floor. According to police reports,
you're doing WWE moves on nurses? I don't think you chose the right profession, because why the hell are you slamming nurses out of everyone? What type of WWE ass scripted scene is that?
The video shows Blust grabbing Nicholson from the back of his jacket, prompting the nurse to pull back and tell him, "Get your hands off me." He was discharged from the force after this incident, having served there for 20 years.
Count 1, battery on a person 65 years of age or older, and guilty on 1 count of false imprisonment.
This was what the nurse, 66-year-old James Nicholson, had to say about the traumatic event. Nicholson is currently retired with an injured knee.
To a point where I was yelling at the top of my lungs, "Help! Help!" What happened to me that day should not happen to anybody, especially a healthcare worker.
Blust's relatives were in tears Friday as Miami-Dade County Judge Marissa Tinkler Mendez handed down his sentence. Blust was sentenced to 45 days in jail and must also serve 3 years of probation.
All right, nigga, he good. 45 days in jail. I mean, his family don't even gotta cry for real. I mean, yes, he's gonna be broke when he comes out of jail, but hey, at least he cool.
After his release and perform 100 hours of community service. Welcome to Ravenna, Ohio, where former Brimfield Township Police Chief David Oliver has been charged with 4 misdemeanor charges, including unlawful restraint.
The only crime this nigga made is his hairline. What made you get that nut-ass skin fade? Nigga, is that a mohawk? Is that a faded mohawk? What are you doing? Gideon's hairline? That's what solid hair looks like under the beanie. You think you're funny? I'll take off my beanie right now.
Attempted theft, simple assault, and unauthorized use of property. The police chief who garnered a small Facebook following for blunt, humorous commentary about the criminals he calls mopes was hit with a fresh dose of karma, as the judge in charge of his sentencing called him a mope himself.
You become the mope that you wrote about in your book.
David Oliver was—
Mope just sounds like it's insulting. I'm sorry, if a nigga called me mope, we're probably gonna have to square off after that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna allow a nigga to say mope to me. That's basically bitch in white terms.
Visibly resistant as he pleaded no contest to counts including attempted theft in office and sexual assault involving a female officer, Crystal Casterline, who accused him of sexual harassment.
I guarantee you.
No, he definitely did it. If a girl came up to me and said, this man right here did something to me, I'm believing the girl. Y'all know when chickens have their little beaks? That's what it's called, right? It's called a beak. That little fat thing underneath. That's what he has.
that Crystal punched me as much as I punched her.
Crystal Casterline,
she punched me as much as I punched her. In other words, nigga, he beat the shit out of her. That's what he said.
Officer who worked under David Oliver
it's a gizzard.
told the judge that he was the one who harassed her and demanded that the plea agreement was not enough punishment.
I was a marathon runner. I loved life. I snuggled my little girls constantly, and I was naive. I never understood domestic violence, how it gets that far.
Oliver,
if you beat someone up in front of their children too, that should be more years.
Became visibly enraged when he heard some of the other things Casterline mentioned.
Hugs escalated to groping, me, trapping me places, and forcing me into positions where he would press his body into mine, forcing me to dance with him.
Oliver disagreed.
That nigga is flabbergasted. You're chopped. You're done. You're done.
Agreed with many of the allegations, but he pled guilty to all charges just so he could move forward with his life. He was—
Oh, if you pled guilty, yeah, bruh, you did it. Nigga said mall cop. Yeah, he's built like a mall cop. I'm sorry. This is the type of niggas that be at the malls like with them big ass segways like. I wouldn't take this officer serious. Bro definitely did it. Paul Blart's uncle.
Sentenced to 2 years of probation and restitution, and he will never be a police officer again in his life. Welcome to New Jersey at the Essex County Superior Court, where Bloomfield police officer 35-year-old Sean Corder has—
Is that the nigga from Fast and Furious? Van Diesel? Nigga, it's all about family. What happened to family?
Been charged with conspiracy to commit official misconduct,
Oh, Dom Toretto, yeah. He said forget family, nigga, I want to get arrested.
Conduct, tampering with public records, falsifying public records, and false swearing. On June 7th, 2012, Officer Sean Corder was called to Marcus Jeter's home when he and his girlfriend got into a verbal argument, and Jeter voluntarily left the home and the environs. Corder followed Jeter onto the Garden State—
That ain't Van Diesel, that's Vaughn Patrol—
Parkway and stopped him. Corder tried to get Jeter to exit his vehicle, but he refused, saying he feared for his life. Corder then immediately called for backup. When backup arrived, their vehicle hit the front of Jeter's car. Corder then broke the window, and with help from his backup, he dragged Jeter out of the car. After the incident, the officer—
So in other words, you got him because he's black. Just say that, man. You could wrap up some of these stories because, nigga, he's black.
Wrote police reports stating that Jeter attempted to snatch Corder's gun and that Jeter struck one of the backup officers. Based on those reports, Jeter was charged with eluding, resisting arrest, aggravated assault, and attempting to disarm a police officer. Based on newly discovered evidence, the prosecutor dismissed all charges against Marcus Jeter and opened an investigation into the officers that resulted in the grand jury returning an indictment against the officers. Prior to his sentencing, he had this to say to the judge in the entire Essex County Courthouse.
I love my children more than anything in the world, and I know they need me.
He's using that card.
I don't want them to have to suffer, switch schools.
If you're getting bullied because your dad is arrested, my nigga, that's a personal problem. I'm sorry. If someone said, isn't your dad arrested? I'm be like, yeah, nigga, you know some niggas that could get you too. You could use that to your advantage. I'm not even gonna lie.
Friends lose the house that they're raised in.
The victim himself, Marcus Jeter, was present in the courthouse. He also had this to say about Sean Corder, as well as the entire ordeal itself.
To say that I resisted. He had a choice. I'm not saying that messes his character up. I'm not saying that he's not a good guy. I'm just saying that in a situation like this where he has an obligation, a moral obligation to tell the truth, he chose not to.
Following a conviction of official misconduct and tampering with records, Essex County Superior Court Judge Michael Raven sentenced the former Bloomfield police officer to 5 years in state prison.
Damn!
Welcome to the state of Oklahoma, where a former police officer of the Oklahoma City Police Department, Daniel Holtzclaw, has been charged with multiple counts of—
He did it. Look at his face. Look at his face. A police officer committing the R word? That's insane. Nah. Forcible oral sodomy. You forcing girls to give you a head, nigga? I'm not gonna lie, you deserve to get life in jail. Get your balls chopped off as well.
Sexual battery, forcible oral sodomy, and other sexual charges. Holtzclaw was accused of sexually assaulting multiple women of African American descent over the—
Multiple? I swear to God, let me find out you arresting black women, and then that's how you get in them to do your actions, nigga. I mean, not that it's okay to do it any other time, but bro gotta lose his dick privileges.
Period between December 2013 and June 2014. He strategically targeted those from a poorer, majority black portion of the city. According to the investigators, Holtzclaw ran background checks on women with outstanding warrants, pending parking tickets, or other criminal records, and carefully targeted them to be his victims. Holtzclaw
What? What? Nigga. He would be walking, he would be like, you got like 3 outstanding warrants, you know that, right? Yeah, officer, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Give me head. That's insane, nigga. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro, you deserve to get a long time in jail.
Who had been on paid leave until he was eventually charged in August 2014, was terminated from the Oklahoma City Police Department in January 2015, and his trial began on November 2nd, 2015.
Mr. Holtzclaw, this jury finds you guilty of the various counts. You will be remanded to the custody of the Oklahoma County Sheriff for formal sentencing set January 21st, 2016 at 10 o'clock.
What did he get? What did he get?
He pleaded not guilty to all charges, but on December 10th, 2015, he was finally convicted on 18 of the charges, with the jury recommending that he serve a whopping 263 years in prison, insisting that—
Buddy, you're finished. 263. You might as well start twerking like this thumbnail right here. 263 years?
Evidence was withheld from the defense. Holtzclaw's attorney requested a new trial, but the request was immediately denied by the judge.
Anyways, YouTube, that does conclude the video. As you can see, if you're gonna be a cop, be a good one. That last person, all of them assholes, clearly didn't abide by the law, and look at them, arrested. And you know how they're gonna probably treat cops in jail? They're gonna probably treat them like dirt. If you like the video, make sure you guys subscribe. Join us on Twitch. We're live every day at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wax for life. Love y'all.